Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to our first episode of In the Middle. If this is your first time viewing, the show mainly focuses on issues in the Black community. More in particular, it talks about the different dynamics of the Black community in general. So this is our first episode. Today we are talking about family secrets, but we cannot talk about family secrets without our special guest. This episode we have an amazing personality. She has been all over. She was just at Essence Festival not too long ago. She's a radio personality as well as a comedian. Please help me welcome lovely Big O. Big O! So what's up? What's going on?
I don't know. All these panels got bougie titles. I don't have all that listed under my name, so I'm excited.
Oh really?
Yes.
So what's new for you right now?
Right now I am working on my second project because I have my CD, Laughing Till the Pain Is Gone. So I have another project that I'm followed up behind that. It's a top secret. Can't tell y'all just yet, but just know I'm coming out. But just doing shows, comedy, and radio, and working, and single parenting, and all that jazz.
We are all proud of you.
Thank you.
But yes, today's topic is family secrets. All right, so my first question is, with family secrets, who do you think that is more so protecting the most, the parent or the child?
I think it can come from a place of selfishness on the parent's behalf, but I also think as a child, you don't need to know everything right away. Sometimes it comes from a place of where you're not able to fully understand or comprehend it right then and there, but I do think that secret needs to be told in detail and talked about and discussed at a certain point in your age. That's just me.
But what is that point?
Probably when you're a teenager, I would think. Absolutely.
I do think the measure of it does depend.
Yeah. But I think to have a real kind of adult conversation about it, I think I would be able to process something deep within my family as a teenager more so than I would as an adolescent. So,
it all depends on the child.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm a single parent, so for me and my son, our relationship, he's 20 now, but I can say at his age, he was very mature at his age.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of things that I involved him in that made him mature, so he could handle things a little bit better. So I even had to have the conversation with him when he asked, "Why is my dad not in my life?" I couldn't make it a secret. I didn't make it a secret. I just flat out told him. And it's just some things that you have to be honest about. You can't just do it a secret just because they are a child either. Because one thing about it is if you keep trying to put it under the rug because you keep saying, quote unquote, they're a child and they don't need to know, they're going to grow up with that. And then later on in their adolescence and their teenager, it's going to affect them. And that's one thing I didn't want to happen with him growing up as a teenage boy, to say, well, the reason why I'm acting out is because my dad wasn't in my life. No, sir, we're not using that as an excuse. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it. And I even allowed him to go to counseling and talk to someone else, because that's another thing. As family secrets come out, we as Black families don't allow us to go and talk to someone about it, and it's okay to do that.
Why do you think that? What keeps us from talking to other people?
I guess it's because we don't want to shame the family name. Or we don't want it to, everybody to, we got to hold up a certain standard, especially if we're in, a pulpit, we're preachers, or we live a certain way. Girl, you can't, your daddy is a pastor. You can't let that come out. So I think that's a reason why we are so quick to deny talking to outside people, but I believe in it. I believe if you need that extra help, talk to them, especially if it's a secret about someone that has molested you or you've been adopted. I just don't think that's a secret, whether it's a child or not. You need to say something.
I also think that it forces you to acknowledge your part in the secret and what you did to keep this secret, and it forces you to come to terms with what you did.
Some family secrets are necessary.
Like,
okay, I mean, if a child is a product of a rape or just certain situations, I think for other people's sanity, other people how they may feel about themselves, some things should just stay disclosed to you. I don't feel like you have to share everything. Some things mothers protect their children from, of the fear of how their children may respond, what it may do to their lives, and it may be hard, but it's necessary.
Right, and I believe if that, especially if the person has moved on, and you clearly see that they have gotten their mental health or whatever the case, and they moved on, and you want to just bring it up just to talk about it, I don't think it's always the most helpful move.
What do you say to the families? Because I've heard this so many times that what happens in this house stays in this house.
Absolutely, yeah.
What exactly do you say to that?
I didn't live by that rule.
You didn't?
Oh no. Me and, well, again, for me, my mom, she was a single parent too, and my brother, we didn't live by that rule. It was, if something happens to you, you come tell it, and I'm gonna deal with it. And the same rule with my son, and he'll tell you, when he would, his first time even going over for a sleepover, I was like, you go to the bathroom by yourself, you wake up, you go into the bathroom by yourself, when you have to go in there and take a shower, it's by yourself. But I said, if not, you have a cell phone, and you pick it up and you call me, and you tell me if somebody done touched you, talked to you, smothered you, any kind of rage over here. You call your mama, you tell me.
I want to come back up what you're saying. I think every parent says that to their child, and it's so important to say, but in a lot of sense, when someone is molested or they have a certain type of shame that prevents them from coming to my mother and saying, hey, this is...
It is a sense of shame, but some
even if you're very
open.
but
some families don't allow you to be able to do that, because I have some friends that went to their family members being very open, and their family shut them completely down.
Right.
With my son, it was very different. He has been able to come to me with some stuff that, I was like, wait a minute. I wish I could have been able to talk like that, to my mom. So I think when you put that in your kids or in your family and you say, hey, I know that it may seem like it will hurt me, but I'd rather for you to tell me than to hurt you.
I've even heard from older generations that when they were growing up, they wasn't allowed to have those type of conversations with their parents because that was somewhat looked upon as disrespectful
and
or
shame.
crossing the boundary.
Right. You never talked about it was, I'm telling you, I've seen it over and over again. If it was a certain kind of status, if your name was in the street as being this high level, middle class family, baby, you did not talk about none of that. And when you got older and you would see the people that are out in the street that are doing bad, and you be like, man, it's funny to see sometimes because I know what happened to them. They, he's like, what if they would have just reached out and just somebody would have talked to them, or what if they would have said something, what a difference it would have made. But they know that the name of their status, they couldn't say anything.
So that goes back to, okay, you know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need you to reach out and touch them. It's not always them.
But when you try to reach out to them, it was always shut down. They would not open up because they already, like I'm saying, it was taught you don't talk about it.
Right.
But it affects both sides, and it's just that person who's learned, and that's why they're probably habitual. It's because they haven't dealt with it themselves.
That's good.
Of what the issue is, and because a lot of times we always hear hurt people hurt people.
That's true.
And when that person may have gotten the same treatment when he was.
I'm gonna have to disagree because when it comes to if one of the things we're gonna, I guess, focus on this conversation is like people being molested. That doesn't make you a molester.
It don't.
It doesn't.
It happens.
I mean, it doesn't. That's just how you build as a person.
She's talking about generational curses.
I know plenty of women who have been. I know one who is very, very close to me who I didn't know, which happened. I just know a woman who's really, really close to me who I didn't know until that when I took her to get her teeth pulled and they hyped her up on drugs and how she talked about it because she was so dope and how it was still affecting her as a grown woman, but she's not like that as a God.
It's okay.
Right.
But she's not like that as a person.
It's real.
It didn't make her that way.
Right.
She never would do anything like that. So I feel like we can't make excuses for people who do horrible things.
I agree.
And I don't think it necessarily stems from a place of that happened to them, so they're going to do it to somebody else. That sometimes is the case, but not all the time. You just have genuinely sick people. Like, I generally believe people who touch children, who rape people, but you're sick. Something is physically and mentally wrong with you for you to think that that's okay for you to do. I don't want to make excuses for people who do stuff like that because you know you're hurting somebody.
Brandon,
You know
I want to get your take on something. Like, I know that you're a parent of 4. Is there certain things that you have not told your children just yet, just because you feel that it's not time, or is it something that you're just not going to tell them?
Oh no, I'm most definitely my daughters. I'm gonna talk to them. Right now they're just too young. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I feel like promiscuity runs rampant on both sides of my family. I feel like that is something that is a generational curse, and that's why I brought it up. And it very well could be a family secret. I have no confirmation because nobody will talk about it. But I am going to.
Man and female, both promiscuous?
Yes. Yes. I feel like everybody, let me not say that, there could be a chance that there are a lot of people that may be hurt in my family and have not healed and will go to use people for outlets. So
That's good.
I feel like I have to make sure that my girls know that there are soul ties when you lay down with people, and you're not going to get up with all those people that you lay down with, and that curse had to be broken with me.
What do you say to the parents that have secrets that what they deem is not crucial enough to tell their child? Like, for instance, there's certain things that the child should know. What do you say to the parents that actually don't tell their children?
Communication is key. And I think you cannot have anything healthy in your life if you don't learn how to properly communicate with anybody and anything. And I think parents in particular, don't think that their children have the mental capability to take some of the things that they are able to tell them. I do think it depends on the secret now, let's be clear. But I do think eventually it needs to be talked about and discussed, preferably before they hit their adulthood. Period.
I think every parent should tell a child what they feel like is responsibly. Like, I don't think you need to tell everything. I don't know. I just feel like that.
Oh, I believe talking. For me, I'm just one of them parents. I'm not gonna. I just can't. I guess because I've just seen so many people damaged from
Not talking.
From not talking. You know, if you're adopted, no, baby, let me go ahead and start telling you at 3 years old. You must got that from your daddy's people. Yes, I can.
Okay, I mean,
Yes,
no.
I can.
I think you could, but
Yes,
how
you
healthy
can.
is it?
It's
How
healthy
healthy is it to
because-
tell a child that's 3
That he's adopted?
Yeah, that you're.
Yeah,
okay,
we're
that
gonna sit down and look at little pictures
but when you
and
say
say,
I'm-
this is your real family over here, but I am your real mother too. And there's things that you need to talk
when
about
you-
because when they get in school, let me explain to you what happened.
Okay.
She went to K5. Well, there's the little boy that was standing over here that was on the playground playing together. The little boy noticed a picture in his home on the refrigerator. And you know who that was?
Her.
His sister. And you know what happened? He brought the picture to school in his book bag. And he said, this is you. And you know what she did? She came in the classroom with her mama and said, this little boy said he my brother. And the adoptive mama didn't tell her. So now the little girl was like, well,
Why didn't you tell
why do you know, and this is at K5, and you can't say kids don't understand. Children know more than what we give them credit for.
I think they understand, but I think if you're beating into someone that they're adoptive, you're always saying you're not from us.
No.
You are, but you're pointing out the fact that they're not.
You're being
from
honest
you.
about. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to let you know,
not-
baby, you are adoptive, and I don't want
It's
you
not
to
what
feel-
you're saying, but people interpret things. Imagine how a child would interpret that. A mother saying
because
to,
you have to emphasize that I love
Right,
you.
I love
you.
Right.
I
But
get that, but you're not
that's
my
true,
mom.
but
But you
that's
said,
not.
I know
You're not.
Y'all gotta
you
like
gotta
recognize
get
how
to
people
know my mom.
receive it, how people receive information.
Okay, well maybe
isn't
I'm just a little bit too
necessarily-
old, but my baby, if this baby was adopted, I'm not gonna let my baby.
Because, I mean, what if your baby ended up with a cancer or something, and they didn't know that
I think we just have to-
hereditary? They need to know.
When I'm saying maturity level, like for me, when I had that talk with my son about his dad, I knew at a certain age when he came to me at 6, 7, and 8, he was asking certain questions. That's the time when it was like, Okay. At K, when she entered K5 and this little boy began to bring this picture to school, he was like, I know you belong to us. That's the time when you have to sit down. When the things are beginning to be open, you can't just cover it. So you know, and just sweep it under the rug. You have to communicate with that. Especially because kids easily now pick up on everything.
Right.
And they're so quick to adapt to their whole environment. So for me, I know I'm just not that parent, you know, and I'm grateful to God that, you know, it didn't affect him in a negative way. You know, to a point where, you know, my dad's not in my life, you know, so I'm a pure clown. No, we're gonna talk about it. Let's figure out why you acting out and what's really going on. And I didn't want it to be a secret. It's not a secret.
Right.
This is just a realization of why he's not here. It's not my fault, but we're gonna be all right. You know, you're adopted, it's okay. You're in a good place, you're with a good family, we love you no less. And anytime you want to reach out to these people, be my guest, put your magic to the test. There it is. It's just communicating. You gotta be able to talk. I think for a lot of us, we're so scared about topics and things that we don't want to talk about. We just put this.
That's true.
And you can't do that.
And you also can't anticipate how somebody's going to respond because you
Right.
don't know how somebody's going to respond. You
Right.
have to give them the opportunity. You don't know. They could be receptive to it.
And sometimes we have to recognize we're not the only instruments to communicate something.
Oh, each one
Not,
teach
not
one.
everybody, not everybody has a good way of communicating thought. It could be the same message from two different instruments, and it could be received totally different based on whoever's getting
So
it.
you agree with counseling?
I fully agree with counseling.
Same.
That's why you're my friend for life.
Oh, most definitely.
Come on, turn around. Don't touch me.
I think this was good. I think this was healthy. I'm probably going to get backlash for this, but
You want to share with the congregation?
yeah, I think
Okay,
it's
come to the
important
podium.
that I at least share something myself. Growing, I'm gonna try my best not to get emotional about it, but growing up, I was taught under the intentions that I had two fathers, and separately, I don't believe they knew about each other, and I would live this one lifestyle with one and this lifestyle with the other, and at a very young age, it did affect me. I think it affected me more when I got older. But I've learned to somewhat block it out in a sense. And honestly, from my perspective, I never got too attached to either side because I never officially knew. So I didn't want to, it's like, yes, your family, both sides treat you like family, but it's like to a certain extent, you still have this block of where you don't feel comfortable. And it actually didn't hit me until I went to go get my passport, and they needed my birth certificate, and I was filling out the forms. And on that paper, I had my boss with me, but he was behind me. And the lady was asking, she was like, well, there's no one listed for the father. And I knew, but it was more so of accepting that from
Somebody
other
else.
people knowing.
Right.
And that was the hardest part for me to overcome. And that's the main reason why I wanted to talk about this
One
particular
time for
topic.
courage. One time for
Yeah,
courage.
loud.
One time for courage.
It's okay, you got two pappies. I'm so proud of you. You got two pappies.
Two Christmas.
Yeah, you got a bunch of fun. You
Right.
got a bunch of gifts.
I actually feel a whole lot better.
You do. That's what I say. Communication.
Look at it.
See?
Talking.
You got it.
Oh, and you touching me. See how good that made you feel? Well, see, that's good. So have you ever thought about talking it with your mom? Have you talked to her?
Yeah, we've had plenty of conversations about it, but I think we're moving in the right direction with this. So.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
That is good, Jeremiah.
That is
So
correct.
yes, thank you for tuning in with this episode of In the Middle. Make sure that you follow all of his social media handles below, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you for watching In the Middle.
Make sure you like, share, and comment on the Facebook page.